I don't know.
Yeah, I got you.
Because I didn't watch this area of WWF. This is just me kind of.
Oh no, just
seeing it for the first time. To be honest with
you. Yeah, really? Oh, that's right. You know. Okay. Yeah. No, I thought it was a promo, and I mean, I know you didn't come into it later on, but I just, yeah. So I guess you didn't watch until now. But that's cool. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. This was interesting because, like, Razor versus Diesel. Like I said, my favorite match before this was Scott Hall versus Kevin Nash. These were the two guys. I'll be frank. This is why I picked the pay-per-view, because those two guys were a big part of me watching wrestling as a kid. Were Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and the others were, Sting and Hogan, kind of, not really, but then Diamond Dallas Page. So after this, there was a backstage with Luger and Tatanka, where they're talking about who sold out. This created a match between Luger and Tatanka. What did you think of this whole match?
Well, match was okay. I gave it a 5.7. I couldn't go further than that, but it was a total story. It was good for that, honestly. So it was kept my eyes on enough for that. But the story revolving around it was just as more entertaining.
It was.
But yeah, it was a decent, okay match. Yeah.
I rated this a 4 because it's kind of like the same issue I had with the tag team. It's just it seemed like they're going through the motions in a way. Yeah. What happened after, which was ultimately Tatanka rolled up for the pin after Luger was distracted by DiBiase, and then Tatanka just laid into him and showed that he sold out to DiBiase over Luger.
Yeah.
I was more entertained by the beatdown after the match and the whole what's going to end up happening between Tatanka and Lex Luger than the match itself. The match itself was very, very basic match.
Honestly, I didn't. Well, I'm not a big fan of them turning Tatanka heel. At that time, I just wasn't a big fan of it. But that's just my personal taste. But I mean, he's all right heel, but just didn't think he was the right guy for it. At least for that.
No.
moment.
And knowing how Luger works as a heel, I would have honestly turned Luger. People don't really like Lex Luger anyway, so.
Well, they were going to just trying to have him replace Hogan, being the American guy and everything. That's why they were just he didn't work out being obviously the next Hogan for them, but they're trying to keep him being that big face. So
yeah. So then we have backstage with Gorilla Monsoon. He just kind of basically sells the hotline number. And then after that, we have Jeff Jarrett versus Mabel. This was an odd match. What'd you think?
It's the match stuff wasn't great. It was kind of funny with the country versus rap, which was 2 years later. You had it going on. Well, more than a few years later, several years later, you had it going on in WCW.
The West Texas Rednecks.
The Rednecks. First, who was that rapper that was in WCW? The rapper.
Who was in that for WCW?
Yeah, who was in that?
It was Kurt Hennig, Barry Windham. I'm gonna look it up real quick because I can't remember all of them.
I can't remember that rapper. That was he's an actual rapper. I just can't think of who it was right now.
Oh, you're talking about the ones that went against the West Texas Rednecks?
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about Master P and the No Limit Soldiers.
That's it. Yeah. I was actually thinking that too, by the way. And I'm not gonna take my other option. But so it was the first time I had country versus rap, but it was he had a guy from, I don't know where Mabel's from, but they had Jeff Jarrett, who's from outside Nashville, and so I thought that was a good story with that. But the match itself, I gave a 4.
Yeah, I gave it about the same. Nothing against Jeff Jarrett. It was an okay David versus Goliath match, but Jeff Jarrett, he knows how to do ring psychology, and it might have been it might have been who he was facing in terms of Mabel, because Mabel's not that versatile. Honestly, I don't understand the whole context with being a hip hop guy, but be that as it may, it was an okay match. Jeff Jarrett did what he could. I'm not a huge fan of Jeff Jarrett's matches in the first place. But
he tells a good story, like you're saying.
Yeah, he knows how to do that. He knows how to do psychology. But anyway, I did a 4 out of 10 for that one as well. Then we led into the vignette of Bret versus Owen, and then a promo from Bret Hart. And then it became into the King of Hearts versus the Hitman Hart. And they had all of the Hart family ringside for this. And of course, this is where Jerry Lawler's comments about I can't think of Mrs. Hart's name right now, but her and Stu Hart, and talking about how this is going to cause him to have a heart attack and things like that.
Yeah,
this is just full heel Jerry on it, essentially the Harts. But what did you think of the match?
Oh man, I'll tell you one thing, and I give credit to both Bret and Owen. Phenomenal match, and also give credit to the commentary team for really selling everything. As I'll be honest with you, I was not bored, but I was tired when I was watching this. My eyes kept on kind of closed a little bit, but they were selling once they hopped up on the cage. They were going out trying to escape the cage so much, and the commentary team was selling it so well, so I was staying awake. And it was a phenomenal match, and they both did really well. I gave it 9.5. I really would have just be fine with giving it 10, honestly, but I give it 9.5. Great storytelling, great match, kept you on your feet, or at least at the edge of the seat. And I'd say this is a great match and good story. So I know a lot of people back then didn't like the ending as far as the beatdown, but it basically gave it an open book to where this ain't over yet kind of thing. But it was great. Honestly, gave it 9.5 and good job for commentary team for selling it. Honestly, man, it's like commentary teams are just. When you have that good commentary team, it makes a difference for a lot of things. Telling the story and carrying a match out too, so it helps out. So, what do you think?
Yeah. So I actually did really, really like the match. I did an 8 out of 10, and the only reason I kind of deduct a little bit from it, the part that was not making sense to me is trying to escape the cage, like they were through the door, because they're both trying to sell that they're the best Hart, and Bret Hart was kind of being not wanting to hurt Owen, which I can understand that, but you would not think that Owen would try to escape the cage as much as he was through the door, based on the build on this, the vignette I saw. So that's the only reason I deducted the points. I actually thought it was very interesting watching Bret reverse the sharpshooter into a sharpshooter of his own. You don't really see that much nowadays where someone tries to reverse the sharpshooter and they apply a sharpshooter themselves.
Well, I think the reason why he's escaping the cage is obviously he also wants that, he wants that victory over his brother to prove his point. I mean, I understand it was like, trying a little bit more of a beating, but, it's being the heel, she's trying to more or less get the bragging rights over too. Hey, I'm the better Hart, but that's just my viewpoint too.
Yeah, no, I get that viewpoint, and I thought about that. I think for a feud like this, it would have been more interesting if they did a hardcore match. Even though the Harts aren't known for that, but just having them beat the hell out of each other with the weapons. And this kind of goes back to something else I said before. I actually did find the post-match beatdown more interesting, adding to it, because it shows that Owen didn't care to win fairly. He just really wanted to beat the hell out of Bret.
I'm surprised you found the aftermath more entertaining than the match. I'm surprised.
No, I wouldn't say more entertaining than the match. Is adding to the match. This is not. I wouldn't say overshadowed the match, but it's just like it more pulled me in towards. All right, now I want to see what happens after this. Now, just given how they reacted, which actually there was a backstage segment immediately after this with Todd Pettingill with Owen and Neidhart, and they're talking about they're going to go celebrate now.
Celebrate my victory. So
Yeah.
my victory.
His victory, even though he lost the match, didn't win the title. Yeah, he got his victory of basically beating up his brother afterwards. All right. So the last thing we have is the Undertaker versus Undertaker. So, what did you think of this whole thing? And wait, actually, I have a question for you because this didn't make sense to me. I thought the first manager, the person that introduced the Undertaker, was Brother Love, but they made a reference that it was Ted DiBiase. Can you explain that to me?
All right. So when Undertaker debuted in November 1990 Survivor Series, it was to where DiBiase had that other person in a tag team match. So he introduced him to bring him in, but his first manager was Brother Love for a little while. So that's how he introduced by introducing him.
So was this a Survivor Series match where DiBiase had the Undertaker on his team? Is that what it was?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, basically, I've got this other person that's going to be coming in and being in a Survivor Series tag match, and no one knew who it was, and then he introduced him to the audience, but Brother Love's the one who walked him down there and was his manager for a while. That's what they were talking about. He introduced him. But,
okay, that wasn't making sense to me at first, but it's because I'm like, it wasn't him. It was Brother Love.
So he's doing the same thing a few years later for SummerSlam, but obviously it's a mock Undertaker, which is Brian.
A shorter Undertaker.
Shorter Undertaker, and has a beard, an actual beard, and I thought they could have done a little better job with making a little more like the Undertaker, at least with a beard, at least. But it's kind of funny. Some people, years ago, thought that the mock Undertaker basically was the Undertaker, and Mark Calloway took his spot. I was like, how do y'all get that? I don't know, but
you can kind of tell it's been Mark Calloway the whole time.
Yeah, I know. That's why there's a few people that no, it was that other one first. I'm like, no. I don't know where
the original Undertaker was Kevin Nash.
Yeah, yeah, right. And no, I just thought it was interesting for that viewpoint, but
yeah.
Brian Lee came in and did the best he could, and it was just a one-off thing, and
I thought he mocked the moves of the Undertaker pretty damn well.
Oh yeah, no, you can definitely tell he studied the Undertaker really well and practiced a lot to try and portray the Undertaker, and I thought it was a good story, good build up for especially back in the day and everything. But you can even see when Paul Bearer brung out the Undertaker, just that presence, man, that was awesome. And I thought it was a really good presence when Leslie Nielsen was out there with his crime partner, and you see that shadow or whatever you want to call it of the Undertaker at the entrance. That was pretty badass.
Yeah,
but
that definitely was.
The match I gave, it was a thud. I think it was a 3.5. The match wasn't great, but it was obviously everything around is what really was the big picture. But the match was, it was there enough, and good 3 Tombstone Power Drivers ended, and send Brian Lee back home, which I believe is Undertaker's cousin, in real life.
Yeah. It was the same kind of idea. I actually did a 4. I did it because it was more of a basic match. I give you said Brian Lee. I give Brian Lee a lot of credit for being able to duplicate the Undertaker's moves as he did. Yeah. That definitely shows he was trying to make it seem like to draw a blurry line between who's the real Undertaker and who wasn't.
Yeah.
I agree. It could have been better, but the only way it would have been better is if they got Glenn Jacobs early. That's all it would have been.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I'll say they asked Kane a while back if he was going to Glenn Jacobs if he would have came up earlier, and he says I wasn't ready for it. So I've been interested still to see Glenn Jacobs portray that character for the mock Undertaker, honestly. But anyways,
yeah.
What's what you're gonna say?
No, that was pretty much it. What would you say this